Loading up. That'll do. Ooh.
Ooh, every time a new setting. So always exciting.
Yes, you can tell how well I spend my time during the week, can't you? Doing productive things.
Oh, well, I think I worked on the mill room ineffectually to just like organize some stuff too. So didn't mill anything.
Nice.
Who would do that?
Did you get your pallet set up?
I got the cam. I wanted to get, basically before I tore down what was there, I wanted to like make sure that I knew what I was going to do. So it's close, but no. Today, hopefully, that's kind of my hopeful end of the day goal. Get it set up.
Yeah, cool. Oh, yes, I forgot to say good morning.
Good morning, Dustin.
Good morning.
For those not watching this, there's now a keyboard on Jem's side that can play the sound clips.
Ooh.
I'm all flustered. I was going to say, now mine won't work. You've canceled it out.
Oh, it's always coffee time.
It's coffee time.
Oh my God. It's so much better. How do you load those into that thing?
Fun and games.
You like little clips you can...
Yeah, just waves on an SD card.
Oh my word. It's amazing.
It's pretty janky setup though. I've got one pair of old Apple headphones, one in my left ear that monitors that audio because I can't hear it through the laptop. And I can hear you in the other ear.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I've obviously had a very productive week, as you can tell.
What'd you get done this week?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Airtable doesn't have a dark mode yet, does it?
No. I want the script to have a dark mode. That's my top request.
Yeah, that'd be nice too.
I always end up editing like at night and I'm just like staring at this white screen like the thing I figured out, you can invert your Mac screen, and so as long as there's nothing else on the page, it'll be black. But everything's like teal and orange in weird places.
Yeah, delicious. You're quite a night owl, aren't you? I'm often watch in Australian afternoon time and you're still awake and it's after midnight.
I try not to be up after midnight. That's kind of the limit. Oh. I try to be asleep by then, but yeah.
And what time do you start work, typically?
I wake up at like 6:20, 15, and then get to work usually by 8. I like to be there before, but sometimes don't. For a long time, I was one of the few people going to work, it seemed like. So the traffic was way down and now it's like we're right back up. And so if I hit the wrong time, it's 10 minutes longer. Not the end of the world, but frustrating.
Yep.
I want to know, why aren't you building a shack in the woods yet?
I'm not building a cabin in the woods yet because I was feeling more optimistic about the future this week. Had a good little debrief about my concerns with my business coach on Monday about just the concerns that have been building up around, the ethics of growing a business, and all that.
Yes.
Capitalist economy and how to deal with all of that. And we just had a good little 15-minute chat about, the opportunities that are present in that issue.
Yep.
How we can proceed and try and set a good example and be brave and do all the things we want to do. So yeah, feeling good.
That's good. Very good.
But I do love building cubbies, as you can tell by this funny little room. I do take great pleasure in building and fiddling with small spaces. So I think a shack in the woods is in my future at some point.
Yeah, I get that for sure. That I was obsessed. My friend and I, growing up that lived down the street, Adam, he had this space underneath the staircase. So it was like one of those wrap around, not fancy, but just like a normal down half, over down half, and you could crawl underneath it. We would just hang out in there all the time. That and build forts out in the woods. And so I totally get the I guess the mill room's kind of like that for me. It's like, ooh, now I can make the wall organized just how I like it. And I can imagine also that the next time I see this, you're going to have an enclosed space around you. So somebody comes in the door and then they have to go in like a curtain.
A little tent. Yeah.
Perfectly sound isolated.
I went camping on the weekend, and I think that just further accentuated the feeling of wanting a small, cozy space.
I get that.
And also just the simplicity of camping, like getting home and having to deal with plumbing problems and cabinets that I haven't finished building and things like that. It's like, damn, tent life is so simple.
Except for the no plumbing part. I'll take the plumbing problems.
Well, there is that.
Bucket.
Sanitation is pretty amazing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll give
it
you that.
is. I get it.
Speaking of your little mill room,
of,
has anyone told you off for storing tool holders in timber holes yet?
nope.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, there's very few, like, I guess I'm lucky, or maybe I've rebuked enough of them and I don't get enough new people coming in that, like, nobody's really, like, yelling at me on Instagram all that often. Why? Do you have a thought of why that would be bad?
No, I just feel like I've been told off for that in the past, storing
Really?
tools in timber holes because of the moisture, rust, blah, blah.
They're
Never
not
had
in-
an issue with it.
They're not enclosed, and they are all painted. That was one thing I didn't want with the mill room. There's so much oil floating around in the air, I think, that I just imagine that would be saturated by if it was just raw plywood edges. So we primed and painted it, and that just looks better. I've become a fetishist for painted surfaces. They just look so much, you know, you can only have so much wood, in my opinion, and then it starts to all just blend into the same aesthetic.
Yeah. Particularly when it's all raw and it all takes on that same level of grime
Yes.
and UV yellowing.
Yes.
How was your week?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I feel like I've been crunching on getting the pedestals out. I went pretty hard on finishing up and like dialing in. I've got all these little, it seems so tiny, the little tiny like pit bull clamp and the Uniforce clamps that go on the pallet, and just dialing in and making
yeah.
sure everything's accurate. It's not the only thing I've worked on, but I spent a good day and a half on confirming things and like actually taking the Pearson model into on top of my actual model of the mill table with the Renishaw probe, and just making sure everything goes in the right spot, because like the way Pearson describes it, right, is you want your models to be really accurate for the stack up, because you use, I thought this was pretty smart, you use one of the pins on the base as your G59. And then that's where you call all of your offsets from. And so if it's not modeled accurately, then you potentially are creating it. Like with that, I sent you that photo of the pallet and the vise. Like if that wasn't an accurate model, you'd be in trouble.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, just being overly cautious.
Yeah, it must be slow to set up all that stuff for the first time. Like, is that the first time you've used pit bulls and that sort of fixturing as well?
For sure. I mean, they come with like these, there's some okay documentation, but then like on the back of the package, there's more that I hadn't seen of like, if you use this one, it needs to be 12.7 millimeters from this set. And it's just like, if you get it wrong, then I've scrapped a $400 pallet and all the time and money associated with that. So it's just been, you know, it'd be easier. Like it was nice when like Ian was here and he'd done all this kind of stuff. And I don't know, did I say this last week? I feel I have this overriding feeling of like really wanting to have somebody hired in like a mill capable position, like that has experience again, because it was just, you know, slower. You know, we've done a lot of R&D and production off that machine for a while now, and so we didn't really need anybody. I guess if we could have been parallel tracking it if I had the capacity and the money, but we didn't. So now I'm just like sitting there, I should have hired somebody now so we could be moving on this faster, but chicken and the egg.
Absolutely. Yeah.
How about you? What's new over there?
We are just off the back of our Hot Laps quarterly review season. Just finished up the last ones on Monday, I think. Yeah. Although I've got one later this morning. It's the first time I've requested to be lapped by someone else. So that'll be fun. Got to do my homework, prepare my notes. Sarah's going to take me for a walk on the phone and ask me questions. So that'll be interesting. Yeah, just off the back of everyone else's lap and feeling, I suppose, quite reflective about, in a positive way, about the team and where we're at and all the things we'd like to do next. That's been positive.
Have you seen Arrested Development, the show?
A little bit.
Have you seen the episode where the guy, the main, I forget his name, the dad has a surrogate and it's that guy with the camera?
Yes.
It's like, Sarah, what if Sarah had one of those to walk around with you? Into the hot laps. Sorry, I got a little distracted thinking about that.
We joked about that when we first moved to Castlemaine and Sarah stayed in Melbourne about getting one of those Segways with an iPad on them that she could like drive around the workshop. Just sort of peer over your shoulder. Like, what are you doing? Hello.
That's the only thing I was thinking of is either it was the surrogate or the iPad robot. I forget what that's from.
So yeah, we've been doing that, and I've spent quite a bit of time this week getting my ducks in a row for a bit of a targeted campaign on vinyl related stuff,
Yeah.
mainly kit parts, but also trying to just capture some of the interest around custom vinyl solutions, because we do a fair bit of custom work for people, like making custom bookshelves or setups for their hi-fi gear,
Yeah.
turntables. So making a new landing page with Jay today, probably just sort of have somewhere to land that ad traffic so we know exactly who's coming in off those ads and where they're landing. And
cool.
yeah, try and do a kind of a joint effort, which I think I've said before, like we don't typically do any advertising for custom work. We only try and push product. But I think this campaign will be a little bit more mixed in terms of also promoting the fact that we do custom work.
Yeah.
Because Aaron's been pushing the sales stuff pretty hard of late. He's kind of, he's owning that space at the moment. Like he is the sales guy right now and will be until the end of the year at minimum.
Yeah. That's awesome. I'm so jealous of that.
And wants more A-grade leads. So we will see how we can rustle up some more business for him, because he wants to be in a spot which makes total sense. He wants to be in a spot where he can clearly say no to the B grade and the C grade work and just really focus in on what we're best at.
It's really interesting. I never had graded my RFQs before. And
It's a good thing to do.
I've mentally done it, and like you kind of put more effort into those ones that you think are going to turn out to be the best jobs and prioritize those. But I still haven't done it. And you said that weeks ago, and I thought, I should add that as a column. But we just have so few anymore that it's like I can just do it mentally. But it would be interesting to have the data later to see if those gradings turned out to be true. If your gut was right.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Oh, that'd also be a really cool feature within Airtable to be able to have user averaged ratings. So like you and other team members could rate the same record, and then it would show the rating of that instead of just one person's rating.
You could do that with multiple fields.
Yeah, you just have a lot of fields.
We've got so many fields. It's a bit full on. We need to do some cleaning up work at some stage.
Field gluttonous.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but that's what's happening at this end. I've been the marketing guy this week.
Oh, that's fun. I'm curious. We were talking about that offline. I'm curious to see. You had sent me a draft of the video you're working on for the ad. And my first gut reaction was like, I have nothing that's going to be constructive here because none of mine convert. Like, I just throw money away. I feel like it's either I don't convert or my ads do convert for services. We get a lot of RFQs that come through the couple ads we do. Very low spend. But all of the product-based things just never can figure out what that thing is. And I think I'd said before, my friend that had done a decent amount of advertising kind of helped me set up some for the courses. That's the only thing that ever worked. And it was a tandem of what he called, what I know the words now, prospecting, where you're like, you're just getting a lot of clicks, right? And so anybody that clicks, then you can remarket to a different type of campaign to convert.
Okay.
And you're using that second pool as like people that have been to this page, show them this other thing. And I don't know if it's just my sentiment. I can't seem to like create that thing that works. So, for the amount of money I'm spending on advertising, which isn't crazy, I could probably be hiring somebody to do it too. Like outsourcing it, because it's just, exploratory is what it always ends up being.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I find it really hard with Facebook to find out, our Facebook spend is pretty small.
Yeah.
But conversion tracking is impossible, it seems, at that end. So, we'll see what happens. That's why we wanted to do this landing page, so we at least have some sense of how much traffic that landing page gets, because it should only be coming from those ads initially.
Yep.
But we'll see.
That's pretty common. I see that a lot, right? With like, especially softwares. Whenever you look at like a review side, they'll always send you to a landing page, and then you can't like find the pricing on that page usually either, which is infuriating. It's like, I want to buy the software, but it's like sign up for a trial, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Speaking of software, did you get have you signed up for the latest workflowy replacement time?
No. Do I need it?
No, we don't need it. We don't need to rebuild our systems, but it promises big things.
What are you doing to us, Jim?
TANA. Jay sent it to me the other night.
Oh God,
Not now. I can't handle this.
you're gonna have to send me a link at some point.
Oh well.
Not finding anything useful.
Tana.inc.
Oh, probably not like that.
It's pretty much just workflowy with super features stacked on top of it, as far as I can tell.
It like makes work3 like complicated.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. I'll take a look.
Other news here, I suppose, is that we did not launch anything in September.
Oh,
End of September came and went, and no new products, which actually feels like a responsible and adult thing to do
yeah.
right now. We'll focus on the products that we have and the communication that we don't have on our website for those products.
Yeah.
But yeah, sort of doing a bit of home improvement in terms of what we already offer and how we communicate rather than trying to pump out yet another thing.
Yeah. I keep thinking about, and you do well at this already. I keep thinking about how I think it would be successful if I could make 1 to 2 videos a week about existing products
yeah.
or tangential things that they're like it's basically like another version of SEO or like a feeder into help sell the product, right?
Totally.
Or just brand building in general. Got to figure out the money situation there. I would love to have somebody or take off enough of my plate to be able to make the videos, but I think it'd probably be better if I had somebody that was like producing them and I did my whatever I needed to do on camera to like perform, and then they could, keep pumping out either social media as well as just YouTube videos. Like I think I'm now thinking a lot about how education plays a really nice role into potentially selling something. Like even if it's not like an outright sales pitch, it's there already. Like your video about doing like how to mount your crates on the wall. It's like people love the character, but then also you're basically selling the product, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty high on my to-do list at the moment. It says video daily. Pick up the camera. Jam. Get it done.
I love that we both have buttons now. I'm sure the listeners are like tearing their hair out like, oh, it's only going to be buttons now.
It's only going to get worse. Oh, Justin, this can just de-escalate into, Now, what was I saying? Videos daily. Yeah, like I would love to. This is just going to turn into a bin fire. I'd love to get more product videos on our website because I did a little exercise the other day of like, what makes it easy for me to buy products? What do I like buying? And what makes it easy for me to convert on those things?
Yep.
And I was thinking about those couple of things that I am quite susceptible to, and product videos are pretty high on that list.
Oh, yeah.
They don't have to be very involved, but if there's product video and a few photos, it makes a massive difference. So I really want to get more product video cooking. And, that can be quite informal, like that crate one I made just on my phone the other day. That's kind of what I'm thinking of, just setting up the product in the space and just, doing a quick little walkthrough, talk through the features. Yep. We don't have anything like that at the moment, so I need to get my proverbial in gear and make them.
Yeah. I feel like you have some videos, like what I've been, backfilling some of my stuff, like are now selling tool holders that we're reselling as of today. And I had a previous video because it kind of comes up often. Yeah. Woo! It's just like a small product launch. I won't even do much about it, but just kind of nice convenience things that you're already buying, say like in the future, the pedestals, and you'll also want more tool holders, right? So I've already done, luckily, in this case, I realized today, I was like, well, like you're saying, a video is nice, and I'm keeping some of the product pages really simple because it's like, what else do you need to know about a tool holder? And so I added this video that was how to set up ISO 30 ER32 tool holders because I made it back when I was making the course, and people also, I had to learn it at some point. How do you properly set it up? What's the, order of putting things in? How do you tighten it? And so I just linked that video on that page, and I think it helps to create trust, I think, too. Like if you happen to come across only that page, right, somehow? Yeah,
totally. So. Trust and sort of, or some sense of authority, too. Like, what you're doing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Or if I did it wrong, it's even worse. Like, he doesn't even know how to set up the tool holder. Yeah. Beyond delegation, what are you not delegating or can't delegate?
What was I thinking?
I'm going to describe what I thought it was first. What was Jem thinking with writing down beyond delegation? I was thinking he's in such a crisis. that it's not even delegation time. He needs to hire somebody to solve this problem.
I think is that more self-reflective, Justin?
Oh, God. Ooh. Yeah, maybe so.
Ooh.
Projecting a little bit.
Get a room.
No, it's quite the opposite, actually. I feeling very positive. I guess, again, off the back of Hot Laps, I'm feeling very positive about what I have delegated. And I think, yes, it's delegation, but I think it's kind of beyond that point because it's kind of more complete.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here, this is yours now. Here, Aaron, take sales, run with it. And the change that happens in people when you do that is quite incredible. Because, Aaron and I have had a collaborative sales relationship for ages now.
Yep.
Where we're both working on it and we're both sort of helping each other, which is great. And I don't think there's no reason not to work like that. But just the shift when you sort of give someone something completely and say, like, take responsibility for this is yours, run with it. I'm not going to be looking over your shoulder.
Yep.
The shift that sort of occurs when that works is amazing. So, like, I'm just seeing that in various aspects of the business where we've done that, and seeing people run with their roles and their responsibilities and succeed has been incredibly rewarding.
Yeah.
And also, like, the flip side of that is really weird, of like just having to get over myself and not feel useless. Because I've definitely had hang-ups in the past of like on needing to feel busy or look productive, and not in a false sense, but like, always wanting to be the one who's working the hardest and pushing the longest hours and blah, blah, blah. Like,
yeah, that would be hard.
Think if I'm giving people these responsibilities, I also have to get over myself and just be comfortable in not doing those things and not being seen to do those things. So yeah, that's been interesting.
I realized as you were saying that I had never considered that situation where I wasn't working. I guess I wouldn't have thought of it as the hardest, but more like the most. Weekends, nights, 12 hours a day, ridiculous stuff that just kind of feels common. But like, I do have that guilty feeling when I take a vacation or leave early in the day. And Ricky this is not at all a criticism of him. I think he's just so used to me being here. When I say at like 4 or 4:30 or something, when I'm going to leave now, I think, and he's like, oh, like there's like surprise, like, what do you mean? Why are you, whoa, something wrong? But it's an interesting thought to like, not that you're entitled to it or something, but just like that it's taking me some time to think that I can it's okay for me to just work 8 hours a day, and honestly, in a certain sense, like to set that as a model, I guess, which I definitely don't do in any way, like take a lunch break and go for a walk. Like I still can barely make myself do that. So, nobody's ever really done that to a large extent here. And I feel like I've potentially led that path, even though when people start, I'm always like, please take lunch. Like I don't eat. I'm kind of weird, but don't not eat for me. But
do as I say, not as I do.
Yes.
Yeah, totally. And I'm definitely not there yet. Like I still get a sense of sort of accomplishment from a big week in my time tracking app, or like a big day. Like I'm still pushing sort of 12-hour days, 4 days a week. So there's some balance there, but yeah, I'm still sort of addicted to that high of like, oh, look how many hours I did this week. I must have been productive. Look how much I got done. It's like there's some value attached to that, which I think is probably at the end of the day quite unhealthy. It shouldn't be about how many hours I've done. It's about what I've actually achieved, but
for sure,
it's hard to get away from that.
I mean, the obvious question, I feel this way extensively, and I don't know how to change it, that there's no way I can work enough for all that I want to accomplish in a week or a day.
I know.
Do you have that feeling?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think everybody that does something like what we do, like an entrepreneurial or like a business owner, has that feeling? Or are there people that are just like, yeah, I've done enough. I feel like I accomplished all my goals today. Do you think there's people like that?
They're probably different sorts of people or at different stages in their life, maybe, yeah. But
no criticism. It's hard for me to believe.
I know, it's hard to imagine, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because, I definitely have that sense of like, there's just so much I want to do and get through. How could I possibly not maximize my time?
For sure.
Yeah.
pause for a second. Is there like is it raining there?
Yeah.
It's ambiance.
Dun, dun, dun. Where's the ambience button? Oh, there's always the coffee. There's coffee in space.
Oh, that's a different one. Did you label the buttons, or do you just know what they are?
No, I've just, as I said, very productive week, Justin.
I've done this so many
Lots of
times
buttons to
now.
remember.
You're just over here like you don't even look anymore.
I'm really busy, guys. I'm just going to shut my door for an hour just while I make some calls.
It's just dark. You just see the silhouette of Jem. You just.
Speaking of shutting the doors, I'm loving having threadboard. I'm loving being surrounded by threadboard, and I think threadboard needs to be my next focus to get it out the door because it's very enjoyable. I'm just really taking great pleasure in making small tweaks every day and moving things around and just putting hooks and things. This whole desk setup is fully supported by pegs because I've got the walls are so close together that I've got pegs on both sides and the whole desk just sits into it. It's a good time.
I should have brought it up, but yeah, I noticed that you now have it on both sides of you, and I think it used to be just one. Yeah. No, it's great. You got to immerse yourself in your product design, right? Like, got to use it. I bet you've tried to climb with those, haven't you?
Yes.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Of course. Climb all the things.
I never published any of those videos. Yeah. Someday when we come back to making Knackwall, I have a lot of slow motion video we never got it to break, but we tested Knackwall with hundreds of pounds, if I remember right, and it never broke any of it. It deformed quite a bit, but we like weighted the hell out of it with a huge fixture plate and just kept stacking it. I had like multiple slow motion camera shots on it. Never broke. And I was like, so the slow motion's kind of mute, but the point was that we could we had an easy 2x safety factor at like 200 pounds. So
great. Was that really janky setup you had on the end of a bench?
Really?
Yeah. It wasn't very photogenic, was it?
The end of our pallet rack in a corner.
That's right. Yeah.
And probably the safest spot, 'cause if it breaks, it was just going to hit plywood, but it was janky. I was like taking all the mill scraps that I could find, like aluminum pieces, and I was like, how about, where else? Oh, there's a kitty litter bag for the mill. And we just like throw it on. It's got like probably 100 gigs of that video that never did anything.
Oh, gosh.
What are your goals for October?
Well, maybe threadboard's tempting.
Feel like you have enough development time in to go for it?
Probably not. I should focus on our vinyl campaign, but that's not going to take me all month, surely.
Yeah, that's the fun part about little products like the Duck Tower was it was well ready. I just basically wanted to confirm a few things and like make sure I could source some stuff. And it was the easiest part of relaunching the Shopify store. It was just like, add the one product. So it's like some images. It's like when it's small like that, not even any variance to it.
Yeah, nice simple product. They're the best. Love it. Yeah, I think I'm just a bit confused about what accessories I'm going to offer, but I'll just keep it simple.
Yeah.
I'm having a great time with like just 2 different lengths of dowel peg. So someone else can have a great time with that too.
Mm-hmm.
Why not?
Yeah, it is amazing when you come up with something that has scalability or like uniformity to it across such a area that it feels like there's an endless possibility with what you can make for it, which is just like for what you and I do is so fun. There's so many ideas we never made or that only exist on this weird wall that would never work for anybody else.
Yeah.
Fun little weird things you can make.
What's your October goal?
I think it's launching the pedestals. I think they're going to be out soon.
Cool.
For pre-order anyway. Frankly, just need to get a couple things made on the mill with that new fixture, the pallet, and then I would really want to make a video. For some reason, that goes hand in hand to me. Like the launch of a product, a more significant product, should have a YouTube video to me. There's just something about it, like you're saying, it just feels like the right thing to do. So I don't want to just do renderings for it. Like I like to do renderings, but it'll also be good to have succeeded at making them and knowing that we can make them exactly how we're imagining to make them rather than just like, small version.
Yeah, I feel like a video is going to be important with that product because I don't think it would suit our machine, but like I have the sense that if I was a customer, my biggest question mark would be like, how the hell do I put this on my machine and how do I make my machine talk to it? So if you can address those concerns in a video.
Yeah. What I'm curious about with other machines than ShopSavers is obviously I'm not going to have guides to how to install those things, at least to start. But you had mentioned before that like you don't feel your controller's that open to change potentially. So, I mean, what it amounts to on ShopSavers, which we'll have it guide out, is you're just changing the position of where you go to do the tool change macro, which is a preset, and which you can also change. You can change features of that. It all basically is a bunch of little text files inside the controller folder on the C drive. It's very straightforward, but you may
is the
discover that.
ShopSaver PC driven?
It's got a dedicated card, which makes it like a PCI card that makes it like more than just the PC itself. So it doesn't put the processing power on the computer to run.
Right, but it is running in a computer, effectively.
Just a Windows PC.
Yeah, right. There you go.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Sounds kind
Very
of good, actually.
straightforward. Yeah, it has its limits, but it's strangely reliable and it just works. I guess it's low cost, I think, which is nice. Like if you need to replace it, you can just swap in a new one and put the card in, and which seems to happen all too often.
Unlike our multicam controller, that busted little control Game Boy thing that I posted on Instagram a couple of weeks ago. We got ours repaired. They sent out a loan unit while they were repairing our one, but the replacement cost for one of those is like $5,000. That little LCD box, like ridiculous.
So this is so another manufacturer that makes those that sells these kind of things too sells the pendant to control the little like spinny dealy with the controls for at least $500, and I think you have to pay for a software thing too. And a few people have found them on eBay for about $100 to $150, and they claim they don't work. The manufacturer doesn't, but pretty sure they do. And of course, then you're not getting like support and all that good stuff. But
yes, yeah.
Do you have good support for your machine locally?
Look, it is pretty good. Yeah,
that's good.
Some of the technicians are great, very helpful.
Yeah,
very generous in their sort of time and expertise. But at the same time, maybe it's just the A2Ms, not the A2MC, the AXYZ machine, because that's a bit more unusual for them, the Canadian one.
With the
knives on it that we've got. Trinity.
We need like a knife button. Shing!
I feel like we're kind of more across that machine now than the technicians are to some extent.
Sure.
Because it's a bit of an oddball one. Yes, generally speaking, support's been good.
Yeah.
A few complaints here, but nothing I need to address.
I have in this weird conversation, a weird tangent to this conversation. I've always been on the edge. Like, I think I do it still, where you like add hashtags to a post, right? Kind of annoying, but it seems to work. It pulls in people. So I've always been hashtagging YCMCNC on anything related to the mill. And it is the smallest community of anything I'm a part of. Like, there's like 5 people, I think, that look at this. It is so small. But somebody in California that seems to be a machine dealer or support dealer, a service representative that I had never seen, just said, "Oh, I found this post from," I don't know if you remember, I spilled coolant all over the floor on accident, and like it was like 10 o'clock or something ridiculous. And he responded based on finding that on the hashtag on Instagram and was like, "Hey, Justin, I see you have a YCM. I'm glad, you're close to us. That's exciting." Like, super friendly. He's like, "Here's how you adjust that so it doesn't happen again." And I was like, "Oh, nice. Amazing. There's somebody else that uses these machines." Like, followed him immediately. Such a good,
awesome,
positive experience from a hashtag. Title options, positive hashtag experience.
For years, since I started using Instagram, I think 2011, whenever that was, I've made use of unique hashtags that I, claim as my own. But I've tried to make them unique enough so that they don't get used randomly by other people. But it's been quite a useful sort of cataloging system of being able to go back over, 10 plus years and being able to quickly pull out photos for certain projects or certain products and things. And that's been a good little function, that.
No criticism at all. But I have a couple of friends that have used that for their kids for photos over the years. Their name and their middle name. It's strangely easy to then find all those photos of those kids, I guess, which is nice, especially if they're private. It wouldn't matter. But the one I've used lately is baby pants CNC hashtag, which is strangely not taken by anybody else.
Strangely unique.
If you leave off the
Excellent.
CNC part, it gets weird. So I don't recommend that.
Well, do you want to chat Patronus?
Patronus.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Pew, pew, pew. I don't think I have a pew, pew, pew. I need one of those.
Yeah, I'm jealous of that, man. That's so much better than my like super slow to react. I push it and it's like 2 seconds later it comes on.
Atmosphere.
Just keep it rolling the whole show. I'm camping this weekend.
So Patreon, huh?
I'm not set on that. I just am representing that concept as fun, whatever our support or funding idea that we've been discussing could be.
What would said supporters get, do you think?
Yeah, I follow a few that get nothing. People support, basically helping to support and keep the thing going. So I'm not necessarily
I support
dedicated
something like that.
to the idea that they need to get something else. I also follow some podcasts that used to do like special. I mean, this podcast was making 18 grand a month on their Patreon.
What?
So they were like sending out every
Jesus.
month or two a special thing. If you were a certain level, like you get something in the mail. So that sounds like a ton of crazy work that I don't think we have the bandwidth unless this grows a lot. I'm open to creative solutions. I'm not saying Patreon's the best thing. I do have one that's very lowly supported for PDX-CNC for like just content that I make. It's been up to $100 or something like that for a while. But frankly, all I'm looking for is just enough that we cover help with editing, I think, at this point. And if we can figure that out, or some of it even. And I think it helps to make people more connected with the show. So if you have thoughts on what that could be, otherwise, I'm open to like it being, behind the scenes kind of thing, or.
Well, why don't we just spin one up?
Yeah.
And then
that's
it's
kind of what I
there.
was thinking. I was thinking the same. I just
And then
don't
we
know
can
how to
start thinking about it.
Yes.
Because I support. I think I do support a podcast. I've done for years, and I don't. Or maybe they did send out a couple of things once, but basically, I just give them a couple of dollars a month and look at what they do. But and I don't quite know what the special content would be, but I'm kind of interested in that idea if there was a way to do it.
I guess one of the things that we could do is to have a more private discussion place if people wanted it. That was, we already have like the Reddit, which nobody else, I think I've had one comment on there. There's 7 followers. We just have a small audience at this point too. So it's not like, any of these things are going to make a big difference, but I think there's enough people that I've had, we've had enough comments that I think there's people that would throw $1 or $2 or $5 in. I don't know.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, what are you doing the rest of the week? Or by next show?
I am going to try and embrace my role in marketing. I'm going to try and make videos every day, at least pick up the camera every day. Just going to commit to that and see what I can achieve.
Yeah.
And try not to spend too much time faffing around with my cubby.
If they're very specific threadboard product design solutions for customers, because I can attest to the same problem of making things for our office that never saw the light of day. Or, all of the NACWOL stuff, frankly. Hopefully that's not all lost at this point.
No. What about you? What's the plan?
Gonna mill the damn pallet. Pro pallet's getting on the machine this week. And I want to make the pallet, and I want to make long bases that I can't make right now. So it's all kind of one thing, but it's also 15 steps to get there. Oh, and also we did make a pretty sweet fixture to be able to cut the tool forks yesterday. I whipped that out pretty nice. Cool. Like a vacuum fixture that you cut one side, and then the one and done fixture on the router, but not completely certain it's going to work perfectly. But we needed, more than anything, a way to cut the second op, because once they turn into a half of a fork, they're real hard to hold again when you turn them over.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's going to work. It's waiting for parts to go on at the moment.
Awesome. Oh, I'm keen to see that.
Cool,
I like a bit of router fixturing.
That's pretty cool.
Sweet.
I did do a little video on how to add fixturing to your router, which I think you're well capable of. But if anybody else is interested, I'll put a link to it, that how to tap into your frame and how to think about it, and how to lay out your fixturing so that you can reuse it in CAM. It was pretty key
Yeah,
to
and
be able to do something like this where it's in the computer already and in the machine already. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, shall we get back to it?
You have a button for that?
No.
I'll just lay with this.
Play us out. George Michael, that's the name of that character in Arrested Development.
Ah, yeah. Yeah. So I had this thought off the record. I appreciate the chat though.
Always.
Yep.
Come in.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.